Welcome to episode 329 of the Various Assembly Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Harmon, joined live from the Vault Studio, the beautiful campus of Grace College and Grace Theological Seminary, by my good friend, my colleague, my co-host, and the man who just this past weekend dedicated his daughter, John Scott Sloat.
Doc, what's happening?
Well, happy Monday to you, if we can call it Happy Monday, right?
Yeah. Well, I've had a bit of a rough Monday.
Yeah?
Yeah, I didn't share this before pod, but I pulled out of the driveway this morning and just heard kerplunk, kerplunk, kerplunk,
That's
kerplunk.
no bueno.
And so I pulled over, walked around my car, and there was a flat tire right there. So I drove back home.
How far did you get?
I was not so we have the
lane that
leads
down
to
to
our
your
house.
Yeah.
I was on that lane.
Oh, okay. So not like crazy far.
No. Pulled back into the garage, busted out the air compressor, filled it up, drove it to Tire Barn, got it patched.
So they're able to patch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were able to patch it.
Okay. Well, fortunate they're at least able to patch it. Sometimes they can't patch it, and then you got to buy a new tire.
Yeah, I think if it's generally in the bottom, like in the outside, but if it's in the sidewall, first of all, if you get your tire punctured from the sidewall, you've either driven into a curb very, very hard or somebody has slashed your tire.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Where I drove over a nail. So.
Classic story.
Classics.
Classic story. Well, I'm glad you got that taken care of.
Yeah. So that was the start to my Monday. You know, in that situation, you text your boss, let them know, like, hey, this happened. I'm going to go get it repaired. I got a text back. Classic Monday.
Yeah. Indeed. So, school year is almost done.
Yeah, what do we got? 2 weeks? Is that the countdown?
2.5. Like
2.5?
Our semester ends on a Wednesday, and then graduation is a Friday. Or sorry, a Saturday.
Do you enjoy sitting in graduation ceremonies?
It's all right.
Yeah? Which do you enjoy more, the 2 times a year you get to wear your regalia? Convocation or graduation? Or commencement, as I should say.
Well, the convocation is shorter.
That's true. And during the workday.
45 minutes and you're out.
Yep.
The problem is we sit on some of the world's most uncomfortable chairs.
Absolutely true.
The chairs we have on the floor in chapel there,
yeah,
they are incredibly uncomfortable.
I'm afraid they're going to break beneath me. They're pretty flimsy.
Flimsy, yeah. Yeah. Do we need to raise some more money to get some better chairs?
No, I don't think so.
Always comes back to that, doesn't it? One thing that I do not like. So commencement longer, like double.
Yeah,
hour and a half. It is kind of fun. It's fun though to see students walking across the stage. You're like, oh, that's great. Like I enjoyed having that student. Or like I'm excited for their future. That kind of thing.
Yeah, or good riddance. You know.
Or man, it's about time that person moved on. But I will say, now that I've been reading names at graduation the last
that's right.
4 years now, 3-4 years, I don't enjoy doing that very much, to be honest.
Now, do you do any special pronunciation sort of things? Because there's some wacky names out there.
So the hardest ones are when we have graduates from our Korean program.
Yeah.
And so the way we do it here at Grace is students hand me as the reader. Now I have a list. I have a list of all the names. But the student hands me a card with their name on it, and they are instructed to put phonetic pronunciation if their name is more challenging to pronounce.
Oh, goodness.
But I'm still like I've literally have
that would not help me.
A second to 2 seconds.
So it's right before.
Yeah, I never see it before that.
Oh, my. So back in the day, Mike Yoakum read all of the names.
All of them.
And he would come to practice, and everybody would walk across the stage, and he would ask you, how do you want me to pronounce this? And he would make his own notes.
No more.
Man.
No. So I get about a second, maybe two, to read that in their handwriting, interpret it, and then go with it.
And you just got to commit, right?
Got to commit.
Yeah, that's tough.
Got to commit.
I don't envy that job.
Yeah, I really don't think it's a good fit for your skill set.
I'll just go have lunch with people. Thanks.
I mean, yeah. I mean, just multiply out what we experience in the This Day in Sports History segments, and you getting to see that in real time.
Yes, and I don't think the phonetic spelling would help me that much. I think
Were you not hooked on phonics as a kid?
I think I probably needed it, but I think it would just confuse me more.
Could be.
Could be. And then I would be really trying, and I would just butcher it.
Yeah, you do have to sound confident.
I'm not good at that. I'm not good at sounding confident reading
even
names.
if you're uncertain, if you sound confident, the only people who probably know are that student and their family.
Yeah. Yep.
And I feel badly for them, but, if you sound confident.
But it happened to you too, right?
Oh, yes.
Right?
Because my difficult name of Matthew Scott Harmon was so befuddling to the commencement reader. They butchered it so badly that my parents didn't realize I walked across the stage.
You know, when people talk to me, I've stopped correcting them when they refer to you as Mark Harmon. I've stopped correcting people.
Correct
it happens so frequently.
I don't correct people either. Why bother?
But yeah, it happens all the time.
All the time.
And it's the actor, right? There's a Mark Harmon, an actor.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think people actively think of that, or do they look at you and go,
he should be a Mark? No, I think they think of the actor.
Really?
Subconsciously, probably, but
Mark Harmon.
I don't get it.
Maybe we get Mark Harmon on the pod.
He's like 70.
I wonder if people call him Matt Harmon.
I'm sure that does not happen.
You don't think he occasionally accidentally finds his way into an evangelical circle? And
Probably
people are
not.
like, are you related to Matt?
Probably not. Probably not. Well, if you'd like to contact the show and tell us how your name is mispronounced in situations, you can find us on X at VNSPod. You can email the show, variousandsunderpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook and on YouTube, and we would love for you to leave a 5-star rating on whatever platform you access the show. All right, John, let's talk sports.
Yeah.
NBA playoffs.
Next one.
Okay.
Played well against. I wouldn't say they played well. They played convincing. They had a convincing win against the Hawks.
Okay. It felt like in the games that I saw, or at least saw scores for, there weren't a lot of close games. A lot of blowouts, it felt like. Like, even just looking back at the scores here, most of these, other than some of the play-in tournaments were close, but actually, starting with round one, none of these games were actually even single digits in round one. All were double-digit victories. So, that's not the most – I'm sorry, there was a 9-point win by the Lakers. So, not the most compelling games up to this point. But, and I think all the favorites won.
No, the Magic beat the Pistons.
Oh, the Magic beat the Pistons. That's right. That is a big surprise. But
Celtics dominated the Sixers. My goodness.
Yeah. So we'll see how that develops. What about your beloved Metropolitans?
Yeah. What have you paid attention? Do you know what's going on?
No,
okay.
I don't know a single
thing.
thing.
They've lost 11 in a row. They lost 3 at home to the Athletics, 3 in LA,
I knew they were going out west, yes.
and 3 to the Cubs.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely no bueno.
No. So there's talk of firing the manager. Wow. I don't think they'll do it. They're just playing as an incompetent team right now. And, I think outside of last year's Cleveland Guardians, no team in the last 15 years has lost 10 games in a row in a season and made the playoffs.
Okay, so time to make history.
Time to make history. That's right. And they have good players. It's honestly it's kind of at the spot where I go, okay, who cheated with somebody's spouse here on the team? It's kind of at that moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're like, we have all the talent in the world.
Something's going on in that clubhouse.
Something's going on in the clubhouse that's just so bad that it's ruined the team.
That's too bad. Yeah. Got to get it turned around.
Yeah, it's a long season. So
it is. Water finds its level eventually, right?
Yeah. I don't know if the Mets are able to do that. We need a Grimace-like moment.
Yes.
They won 15 games in a row when they did that. If they did that again, they'd be close to 5. They'd be just above 500.
Wow, man, that's a long way under 500 this early.
They're now. If they won 15 in a row, they'd be above 500. But it's not good. They're not hitting the ball well. They're not hitting. Mm-hmm. That's part of the issue.
Yeah.
A couple of their pitchers are falling apart. Not good. So we'll see if they turn it around. They have now the Dodgers and the Cubs are very good teams. Mm-hmm. They have who do they have this week? Nationals, Twins. Not in that order. I believe it's the Twins first. But if we're able to, put together some consistent winning here. Yeah, we have the Twins on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And then this weekend we have the Rockies. That's right. And then starting next week we have the Nationals, all at home.
Okay.
So hopefully we can get ourselves straight, or maybe Citi Field will riot. Who knows?
Angry Mets fans.
I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of them. No. I feel I'd be more worried about football fans.
Jets fans?
Jets or Giants fans than I would baseball, because baseball tends to be a bit more family friendly. I've heard some awful things about Yankee fans.
I've been to a Cubs game a couple of Cubs games in the bleachers where I'm like, I could not take a child here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, but I would worry more about football than I would baseball, just generally speaking, outside of maybe New York and Philadelphia. Philadelphia, where they sell liquor right at the concession stand.
Yeah,
that's a big problem for me.
Wow. All right, we need to talk NFL draft. It's coming up this week.
Yeah, this Thursday, right? Thursday,
yep.
8 o'clock. It starts at 8 o'clock.
I know, past your bedtime.
Not quite, but almost. Like, I'll stay up for the first Jets pick. I won't stay up for the second.
They have shortened the time between picks this year.
What's it down to?
What did it used to be?
It used to be like 10.
I think they shortened it to 8.
Might have been 15.
I think they knocked a couple minutes off.
Okay.
Which makes sense. There's no reason it should take that long. Especially early.
But still, teams struggle to get the pick in.
I know. I don't understand how have you not talked through contingencies?
Yeah.
Like, here's the guy we want. Now, if he's not there anymore, what do we do?
Who are the next 10 guys?
Who are the next 3 or 4 guys we want? And if none of these 2 guys are available, okay, we move back. So who are some people that we think we could move back with? Like,
what would they want?
Yeah.
What would a reasonable trade be for this?
Yeah. Who do you expect the Jets to take
at number 2?
At number 2,
Reese.
I don't want to hear that, John.
I just think it's him. I think they'll take him.
Can't they trade up and take Mendoza?
I don't think the Raiders are giving up that draft spot.
Isn't there another quarterback that they want to throw money at? They need a quarterback.
Well, we have Geno Smith.
They need a quarterback.
Again, it's like it's 2011 all over again.
It's like Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, a little bit. The vibe I'm getting is throughout the whole draft this year, it's just going to be best player available, best player available. If somebody's dropping, trade up and get them. Best player available, best player available. The reason I say Reese is that all of the information is now flying out about what's the other guy's name? Bailey? David Bailey?
What position?
Linebacker, I believe.
Okay.
I can't remember where he's at. But they're putting all this stuff is coming about these other players, but nothing's coming about Reese. Mm-hmm. And he has been basically the guy on everybody's board for the Jets. So it's another Ohio State Buckeye.
Your franchise ruins Buckeyes.
Coming to the great state of New Jersey.
Yeah. Your franchise, with the exception of Garrett Wilson, feels like they ruined Buckeyes.
Yeah. I know it feels that way. We did not ruin Nick Mangold.
True.
Nick Mangold had a very good career.
Very good career. Yes, that's right. That's right. But, man. Okay.
That's one.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Who would you take number 2 if you were the Jets? Is it Arvell? Arvell?
Mm-hmm. Look, I think Arvell Reese is great.
They're talking about him like he's the second coming of Micah Parsons.
Yes. That might be a bit of a stretch, but like he's in that
That's
vein.
Some big shoes to fill.
Yes. I don't think that's a bad pick. I'm more concerned about the Jets ruining another Buckeye.
Do other Buckeye fans talk about this, or does it have to do with our relationship that you just sort of notice it more than others?
I see occasionally mention of this on Twitter when things come up about, the Jets might take, and Buckeye fans are like, no, don't do that. So,
competence one day will come to the Jets.
Maybe.
Now, there may not be any Buckeyes left, but
right. It'll be interesting to see. There's a chance there could be 3 Ohio State players taken in the top 10.
Let's see. The wide receiver, Carnell?
I don't know if he'll go that high. I think Reese and Sonny Styles.
Sonny Styles is another name I saw.
Are guys that I think I'd be stunned if they don't both go in the top 10. Caleb Downs, the safety. I know that's a little high to take a safety, but the way that they talk about him as a sort of generational talent at safety.
Yeah.
So,
what do you know? So the Jets at 16. Mm-hmm. I've seen Mekhi Lemon connected to them.
He's out of USC, I think, right?
Yeah. You know anything about him?
He won. I think he won the. He won wide receiver of the year in the Big Ten over Jeremiah Smith, which was absurd. But, or maybe he won the Biletnikoff. I think he won the Biletnikoff. He won the Biletnikoff over Jeremiah Smith, even though they're in the same conference, and Jeremiah Smith won wide receiver of the year.
Interesting.
Yeah. He's good. He's really good.
If he falls to us at 16.
Yeah.
It feels like there's some very good wide receivers in this draft.
Yeah, I think it's possible Tate could go at the edge of top 10, but I think it's a good possibility that either Downs or Tate goes in the top 10, making it 3 Ohio State guys. So we'll see. Weird things happen on draft day.
Weird things do.
All right. Ready to move on?
Yeah. Did we talk about – I think we talked about everything we meant to talk about. Yeah, let's do it.
Unless you had something else in the sports world.
Man, I don't think I have anything. I wish I had something off the wall and weird.
Okay. All right, so we are continuing our series on the minor prophets. We've got 2 more weeks after this.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So this is going to get us through graduation.
Malachi and Joel. That's all we got left.
Okay.
Malachi and Joel. Today we're doing Haggai and Zechariah together.
A twofer.
Yes, a daily double here. So, I think instead of reading right out of the gate, we'll talk a little bit about each of these individuals, and then
Okay.
we'll do some selective dipping in. Sounds like somebody's dying
Man.
out there.
Go pick a lung up off the ground. My goodness.
So Haggai, just identified as the prophet. Which
Okay.
It's kind of cool, right? I mean, it's like maybe it's like
The prophet? The prophet?
the prophet, like the Ohio State University. You just kind of went around. It's like, oh, that's the prophet.
Yeah.
Of course, the challenge with that is that he's also ministering at the same time as Zechariah, who is also a prophet. So, feels a little.
So there's two prophets. One's called the prophet.
And the other's Zechariah, son of Berechiah, son of Iddo. So we don't know a lot about Haggai. There is a Haggai mentioned in the superscriptions of a few Psalms.
Okay.
So could be the same dude. May not be. But Zechariah, we have a little bit of genealogy there. And if his grandfather Iddo is the priest that was mentioned in Nehemiah 12, that would mean that Zechariah is from a priestly family. But in any case, these two men were serving at the same time. And part of what's fascinating, if you look at Haggai, we talk about trying to date some of these prophetic books, and some of these were like, I don't know, somewhere, and you kind of get maybe like a 50-year range.
Yeah.
You're kind of ballparking it. Well, Haggai's like the only prophet where we get like down to the day when he was doing things.
Yeah, look at that. Just a timestamp right at the top.
Yeah. So go ahead and read chapter 1, verse 1 of Haggai.
All right. In the second year of Darius the king, in the 6th month, on the first day of the month, the word of the Lord came by the hand of Haggai, the prophet, to Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel.
Shealtiel.
Governor of Judah. Did I jump into the second verse here?
No.
Oh, there it is.
It's just a long first verse.
Oh, goodness. Governor of Judah, and to Joshua, son of Jehozadak, the high priest.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so that's August 9th, 520. Isn't that wild that we know, like, the exact day?
This is when it came down.
Yeah. And then you get another timestamp there in verse 15, 24th day of the month in the 6th month in the second year. And then verse 1 of chapter 2, the 7th month on the 21st day of the month. So
I appreciate that he has the modern practice of putting the date at the top of the page, when he gets going. Yes.
He would have. He's the guy that kept the very organized day planner back then.
Yes.
It's like, okay. I'm a little surprised we're not getting like the day of the week, but maybe just Tuesday.
Sun rose at X time.
Yeah.
Weather was this.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that's how you roll. That's what you keep in your.
I've seen some moleskins that were buying to hand out at Grace, and they have our emblem on the front and everything, but they have a spot like date, and then it has like 3 weather icons at the top, and you can circle one, and like,
okay,
that's pretty cool.
Okay, so all of what is written in Haggai takes place in the fall of 520 BC.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then Zechariah is also doing his prophetic ministry thing
At a similar time?
during the exact same time. Turn to Zechariah 1.
Also with a timestamp in there.
Yeah, verse 1. Go for it.
In the 8th month, in the 2nd year of Darius, the word of the Lord came to the prophet Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, son of Iddo, saying,
Yeah, now you don't have the exact day, but you do have month and year. So
that's
fall of 520.
That's much better than most ancient
Yes.
sources give us.
Now, if you do jump down to verse 7, though, you're going to get a specific day.
Jump down to verse 7. On the 24th day of the 11th month, which is the month of Shebat, in the 2nd year of Darius.
Yeah. So that's February 15th, 519. So this is the following, winter. So the previous ones were fall of 520. Now he's moving into the winter of 519. So significant overlap. And basically, the reason we're treating these two guys together is not just because they prophesied at the same time, but a big focus of both of them was, boys, it's time to rebuild the temple.
Right. So I guess different from most of the prophets. Most of the prophets had been before the exile, or even as exile was sort of happening. These guys are sort of after.
Yes.
In the return to Israel, right?
That's correct. Yep.
What in the academic world we call post-exilic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Somebody brought that up in a Bible study a couple weeks ago, or a small group I was in, and everybody just looked around and goes, what's that mean? But nobody wanted to admit they didn't know what that means. And so I jumped in and I just went, that just means when Israel's returning from exile. That's like a marker in time. Was
this in your small group?
Yes, it was.
I have a strong suspicion as to who it was.
I think your suspicion would be correct. It was a while ago. It was probably 4 or 5 months ago. But
so anyway, yes. So there's a remnant of Jews who have returned from Babylon. So the king of Persia has basically conquered the Babylonians and has said to the Jewish people, hey, you're free to go back. But only a remnant, we learned probably about 50,000, go back. And they're concentrated around Jerusalem. And so Haggai and Zechariah are raised up to get them going in terms of rebuilding the temple. By the time that they are doing their ministry here, this group of exiles has been back in the land about 17 years. And God is saying, it's time to get started on the temple. And so God uses Haggai and Zechariah to kind of get that process going. So that's the kind of the bigger picture both of them are working towards. So there's a lot of ground we could cover. I want to focus on primarily two areas.
Okay.
The first is the temple.
Okay.
And just kind of recognizing what's going on with that. So remember, the temple was the physical location that represented God's presence among his people.
Mm-hmm.
Babylonians in 586 came through and just leveled it.
Right.
Stone upon stone, just took it down.
Okay.
Took all the goodies with them. Now, some of them come back with these exiles. The Persians allow the returning exiles to bring some of the things back. But there's just an interesting scene. It's not recorded in Haggai. It's recorded in Ezra, that when they go to lay the foundation of this new temple, there was enough exiles, returned exiles, who had seen the original temple, Solomon's temple, and they weep. Because
it's not good enough.
It's not nearly the size. It's clearly going to be on a much smaller scale. And so, we get this sort of prophetic comfort that God gives through Haggai. Go ahead and read Haggai chapter 2.
Okay.
Verse 9.
All right, verse 9. The latter glory of this house shall be greater than the former, says the Lord of hosts. And in this place I will give peace, declares the Lord of hosts.
Okay, so, and yet what's interesting is that even though this This is what comes to be known as the Second Temple. Even though it clearly is lesser than Solomon's temple, God makes this statement here, but then how do you interpret it? Because this is just a fascinating thing, and people interpret it different ways. But unlike with the first temple, where there's a very definitive, obvious, like the Spirit of God descends and it fills the temple, and there's a big cloud, and it's obvious God is taking up residence in that building.
Yep.
That's never described in Haggai or Zechariah or in Ezra. So there's no indication that that happened. And so that leaves you with either, well, it's not described, but it happened.
It's implied.
It's implied.
Yeah.
That's one take. Or maybe it never happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so that leads to different interpretive paths for sure. But I think regardless, I would see the fulfillment of that promise there in Haggai chapter 2, verse 9, going beyond the second temple as a reference to Christ. I think it's a typological anticipation of, since Christ is the true temple, that's what's in view there. So
you don't think Herod's temple's maybe in view here?
I don't think so.
Okay. Does that interpretation out there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because by the time you get to the first century, like Herod's temple was incredibly impressive. Like you could make the case that, well,
it was bigger and better than the
bigger
first.
bigger and better than Solomon's temple.
Yeah.
In some ways, sure. But I also want to focus on there are a number of kind of messianic texts, in particular in Zechariah. But so let's just look at a few of these. We don't have time to read the whole story, but I'll have you read Zechariah 3.
Okay.
And I'll have you read verses 6 through, let's go, oh gosh. Actually, let's go 8. Let's go 8 through 10. Let's do that, 8 through 10.
8 to 10?
Yep.
All right. Hear now, O Joshua the high priest, you and your friends who sit before you, for they are men who are a sign. Behold, I will bring my servant, the branch, for behold, on the stone that I have set before Joshua, on the single stone with 7 eyes, I will engrave its inscription, declares the Lord of hosts, and I will remove the iniquity of this land in a single day. In that day, declares the Lord of hosts, every one of you will invite his neighbor to come under his vine and under his fig tree.
So in particular, verse 8, when he refers to Joshua as my servant, the branch, that's bringing together two messianic threads earlier in the Old Testament. Servant primarily showing up in Isaiah, and then branch showing up in both Isaiah and Jeremiah as a term that references a messianic figure. So, and then even just the reference there of in a single day I'll take away the iniquity of the land.
Yep.
Certainly points in that direction. But I think Zechariah is also one of those books where there's several passages in Zechariah that when people read, they go, oh, that's quoted in the Gospels. Perhaps the most well-known one, turn to Zechariah 9, verses 9 and 10.
9 and 10.
Yep.
Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout aloud, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, your king is coming to you. Righteous and having salvation is he, humble and mounted on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim and the war horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace to the nations. His rule shall be from sea to sea, and from the river to the ends of the earth.
So that's a passage that's quoted in 3 of the 4 gospel accounts as Jesus enters Jerusalem on Palm Sunday. That's actually already picking up language from both Genesis 49 and Isaiah 54. So a lot of stuff going on in there. Isaiah 62. So that's a pretty clear prediction of this messianic figure. Turn over to chapter 12, and let's go verses 10 through 11.
Give me those verses again.
Chapter 12, verses 10 through actually, we can just go verse 10. Chapter 12, verse 10.
Verse 10?
Yeah.
And I will pour out on the house of David and on the inhabitants of Jerusalem a spirit of grace and pleas for mercy, so that when they look on me, on him who they have pierced, they shall mourn for him, as one mourns for an only child and weeps bitterly over him, as one weeps over a firstborn.
So, not necessarily quoted, except for the line, they will look on him who they have pierced. That's quoted in John's Gospel. Which, if you read carefully again, notice it says, this is Yahweh speaking. He says, when they look on me, on him whom they have pierced. That's an interesting little shift there. So picked up in John's Gospel, John chapter 19. And then let's go over at chapter 13.
Okay.
And for the sake of time, let's just do verse 7.
Awake, O sword, against my shepherd, against the man who stands next to me, declares the Lord of hosts. Strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. I will turn my hand against the little ones.
So that language is strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. That gets picked up in Matthew 26.
Yeah.
So I think Zechariah is one of those books where when you read through it, you start to pick up these things. You go, wow. For a book this size, there seem to be a number of passages that New Testament authors, in particular the gospel writers, are quoting or alluding to in their description, in particular, of Jesus' crucifixion and the events surrounding that.
And it's even looking at Zechariah, I'm like shocked it's 14 chapters, right? You think of these minor prophets, you think 3 to 5. Right.
Yeah.
You think pretty short, and Zechariah is actually quite verbose.
Him and Hosea.
Yeah.
Kind of up there. Yeah. And so,
and it's something to think about, the gospel writers being so engaged with this scripture, and I mean, I don't think it's a stretch to say the minor prophets are not something the average Protestant is well understanding.
And I think if you asked people to list the top 5 Old Testament books that the gospel writers quoted or alluded to in describing the last week of Jesus' life and his death, very few people would come up with Zechariah. They're like, oh, Isaiah.
Yeah.
The Psalms are in there. But I think, they might, if they remember maybe that the triumphal entry picks up Zechariah, they might think, but then would they also catch the other ones? So a lot of very interesting prophetic texts pointing forward to Christ there in Zechariah. And I love how kind of the culminating thing that Zechariah focuses on is encapsulated in Zechariah 14:9. The Lord will be king over all the earth. On that day, the Lord will be one, and his name 1. So again, just stressing the fact of God's universal reign. Like that's going to happen. And that Zechariah has a beautiful kind of description of that in chapter 14. So anything else on Haggai and Zechariah here before we move on?
I don't think so.
All right. Time now for This Day in Sports History.
All right. This Day in Sports History, April the 21st, 2026.
Yeah.
April 21st. 1952, future world champion Rocky Marciano
Yep.
knocks out Italian heavyweight boxer Gino Buonavino in the second round at Rhode Island Auditorium in Providence, Rhode Island for his 40th straight win.
Providence, Rhode Island.
That's one of your favorite places to have ETS, isn't it?
No. Only because of its connection with a podcast that both of us have listened to.
Yeah, the Buddy Cianci story.
Crime Town.
Yeah, Crime Town.
That's
season 1. They've thrown in a season 2 now.
Well, there's a season they did on a woman in Illinois. Have you listened to that one?
No, I've listened to those guys do they did one out of oh my goodness, what town was it? Youngstown. They did one out of Youngstown, Ohio.
Yes, I listened to that one.
That was good.
Yep. I think season 3 was this woman in a small town in Illinois who absolutely embezzled money from the city over a period of 20 years, something like $50 million. And she used it to become this big deal in not in horse racing, but horse showing. So yeah, I think that was season 3.
They did a podcast. I have not finished it, but the Confessions of Anthony Raimondi. Have you listened to that?
I listened to that. Yeah.
The same guys did it, and they've done a handful of these, and they're just really compelling stories usually about some sort of mobbed up individuals who are still alive from the 60s and 70s who are just telling stories.
Yeah, totally.
The Confessions of Anthony Raimondi was about a guy who said he assassinated the Pope.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Man.
Wild. No. Okay, so I'm mixing up podcasts. There's the one about the woman who embezzled money from a town in Illinois. It's called Crooked City, not Crime Town.
Okay.
You should listen to it. Crooked City, about Dixon, Illinois.
Okay, I see that on here. I believe that's the same as the Youngstown podcast I was talking about. Season 1. And then season 2, the Emerald Triangle, I don't know what that is.
But yes. So anyway, I think you'll enjoy it. Season 3, is that what it was here?
Yeah, season 3.
Season 3, yes, is Dixon, Illinois. And part of why that's amusing to me is one of my wife's college roommates grew up in Dixon, Illinois.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway.
Boy.
That was quite the tangent there.
Providence, Rhode Island.
Buddy
Crime
Cianci.
Town. Buddy Cianci.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you I met somebody from Providence, Rhode Island, and they talked about how much their parents loved Buddy Cianci?
No.
Yes. So she spoke in chapel here,
Oh.
and she was from Brooklyn, New York, and had taught at universities, and I can't remember where we met her on campus, but I got tagged to have dinner with her, and me and a group of people were talking to her, and I brought up Crime Town because she mentioned she was from Providence. I was like, do you know Buddy Cianci? Or do you know of Buddy Cianci?
Yeah.
She goes, my mom bawled at his televised funeral.
Oh, my gosh.
Just bawled.
Wow.
Anyway, moving on from that, 1986 90th Boston Marathon, Rob de Castella, first Australian winner in 2 hours and 7 minutes and 51 seconds. Ingrid Christensen of Norway claims women's title in 2 hours, 24 minutes and 55 seconds.
Yeah.
1989, George W. Bush and Edward W. Rose become joint CEOs of the Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
George W. Bush goes on to trade Sammy Sosa to the Cubs. 1995, Boston Celtics final regular season game at Boston Garden. The Knicks win 98-92.
Yeah.
Love it. 1996, the Bulls win an NBA record 72 games.
Since passed by the Warriors. I think they won 73.
And 2012, the Chicago White Sox pitcher Phillip Humber pitches the 21st MLB perfect game against the Seattle Mariners.
Isn't that wild? There's only been 21 of them.
Yeah.
There may have been one since then. I'm sure there's been at least one or two since 2012. But that's how random baseball can be. It's like the perfect game is one of the rarest things that happens in baseball.
Yep.
And no one has ever heard of Phillip Humber.
Nope. Just had it that day.
But on that day, he was in another zone. And, yeah. So who do you like?
Oh, goodness. Well, I often try to gauge who do we talk about the most. And we talked about Providence, Rhode Island.
We can't put Providence, Rhode Island on there.
Maybe Phillip Humber?
I think so. I mean,
Phillip Humber?
We're never going to put Phillip Humber on there again.
No. You know who else isn't? Cooperstown is not putting Phillip Humber on anything.
I don't know. Do they have a running thing of perfect games?
I'm sure they have a list. Yeah, I'm sure they have a list there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Phillip Humber it is. One thing you liked.
I'm gonna mention just Sunday in general. Dedicated the baby, which was good.
Yeah. Little dry baptism up there.
Yeah. Don't get me started. I made my complaints known. This is about making the Catholics ultimately feel good. The disaffected Catholics feel good.
Hey, our pastor did a great job of explaining what was happening and what was not happening.
Yeah. But I had barbecue on at home. And I did poor man's burnt ends, which is a chuck roast cooked for multiple hours and then chopped up into cubes, covered in a sauce and sugar and things like that. Very tasty.
Yeah.
Chased it with some potatoes, veggies.
Were those on the smoker as well, or just?
Of course. Okay. No, they were on the smoker. And then I did a berry cobbler on the smoker as well. Okay. Very good.
I bet.
Very enjoyable. And then I took a long nap.
With Mia?
Yeah. The whole family did. The whole family took a nap.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. I'm going to go with a book that is coming out sometime this fall that I received an advance copy of to write an endorsement, and I was glad to do so. It's called Wilderness as a Theme in Biblical Theology.
Oh.
So it's a collection of essays. I think they all came out of the Tyndale Theology Conference in England from a few years ago.
Oh, nice.
And so I was asked to write an endorsement and was glad to do it. I very much enjoyed reading it.
Yeah, we've interviewed one of the guys on there.
We did interview Brian Rosner. Yep.
He was a good interview. I like Brian.
He's coming back to camp. He's coming
to
campus.
To campus.
Yeah, in November.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful.
We'll have to get him in the studio.
We'll have to get him in studio, maybe dinner while he's here.
We can make it happen.
Maybe Oak and Alley, really give him some good American fare.
I mean, he's coming in on a Tuesday night, speaking at various things Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
He's got to eat.
Then spending the weekend because he's flying out with me to the ETS conference on the Monday.
Oh, nice.
So we can definitely arrange.
We could get my table at Cerulean. That'd be great.
There you go. There you go. And that is our one thing we liked. All right, John, we have talked some NBA, some MLB, and some NFL draft. We've talked about Haggai and Zechariah. We have talked about Phillip Humber. With a strong tangent rabbit trail on Buddy Cianci.
And mob-related podcast.
Yeah. We have talked about your Sunday, dedicating Mia and having the fam over for a good meal. We have talked about wilderness as a theme in biblical theology, a forthcoming book in the fall.
Nice.
And so I think, by definition, we have covered our various and sundry topics. And so all that's left to say is, until next time, the Lord bless y'all real good.
Later.